welcome to the Racer's Edge, Kris, and thanks for taking the time in your schedule. Obviously, things are ramping up again now after a bit of a quiet time, I would imagine, for you over the past couple of years. Although you've done quite a bit of gigging in the last part of last year, which we'll get onto in a bit. So, just a quick introduction for people that might not know you. I'm just going to run through a few highlights. Began playing guitar at 5, first gig at 9. 10-year career in mixed martial arts, so you've lived around the world. 3 albums so far, the last one being Light It Up in 2019. Planet Rock Best New Band of the Year 2019. Member of Supersonic Blues Machine, supports to Bon Jovi, Blackstone Cherry, Beth Hart, Magpie Salute, amongst others. And new album coming out on the 4th of March called Death Valley Paradise, which is why we're here, followed by a UK tour. Not a bad resume.
This is your life.
So, let's talk a little bit about where you are now. Obviously, the past 2 years, everyone's been in the same kind of position in terms of things went a bit shit, but it gave a lot of artists a bit of time to actually reevaluate and spend some time writing and stuff. Obviously, with the album out and the headline tour, are you back on track? Are you focused?
Yeah, definitely. It's all systems go at the minute. Obviously, with the album comes out and then the tour starts like 5 days later. It's all systems go, and it's just great to be back at it. Particularly the live stuff for me. That's why I started the band in the first place. I wanted to get out there and play my own music to people that wanted to listen to it. And just looking forward to being in the same room as like-minded people, just having a good time.
Yeah, sure. So tell me about the writing of Death Valley Paradise. Was that done predominantly? Did you have stuff already written when Light It Up had come out and you were promoting that, or has it all been done during lockdown?
I started writing just as we finished the Light It Up tour, which was the autumn of 2019. So it was pre-pandemic. I started writing then, and then. Obviously all the way through the pandemic, and obviously it was a tough time, and it was the uncertainty of not knowing if and when we would ever get back to it. But if I had to take any kind of positive from it, it was the fact that I actually had time to sit down and work on the songs, and some of them got rewritten like 5 or 6 times, and and it was always for the better. Sometimes you can overdo things, but this wasn't the case. It's just every time it just got a little bit better until we got it to where we wanted it to be. And if my tour schedule was as it was in 2020, I wouldn't have had the time to do that. So, I think Death Valley Paradise is very much a product of the pandemic.
Sure. And thematically, you've gone a little bit deeper and darker than maybe on Light It Up. Certainly, there seems to be some, should we say, heavier music, but also some darker themes from what I've listened to on the couple of plays I've had so far. Has that been influenced by the whole situation in terms of your writing and the themes that you were picking up?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with the subject matter of the songs, I had mental health issues and all that kind of thing, like most people throughout the pandemic, and some of that I haven't really suffered with before. And kind of give me a new insight for sure. And I always use songwriting as an outlet anyway. It's kind of like a cathartic experience for me. So it was good for that side of things. Regarding the album being heavier, that's just the way it landed, really. I've been influenced by a lot of, I've always been a rock fan. I've played in metal bands in my teens. Grew up with it as much as I did with blues stuff. So it was going to come out at some point. And I found like when I started writing, again, it was pre-pandemic, everything was just coming out heavier.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It was just, that's naturally just what was coming out. And I kind of thought, oh shit, I'm going to have to rein this in a little bit, because I'm supposed to be a blues rock artist, as I get labeled. So, this people are going to shit their pants when they hear this. But, and I tried to write in like a blues rock way and like keep things in this like narrow little genre. And it was just crap and it just wasn't working. It was too forced. So I ended up just doing a bunch of songs, a bunch of demos, and I took it to the label and I said, look, I want to go heavier. This is what I'm doing. What do you think? And they were super, super supportive. And it just went on from there. And once I had that, like, you know, that go ahead, like, you know, I got that free reign.
Yeah.
I was like, right, this is what I'm doing. And, you know, the pandemic was as good a time as any for a reset. So, you know, I think it's been a natural progression. Each album's gradually got heavier.
Yeah.
You know, there'll be some people out there that will be like, oh, miss the blues, but there's enough blues guys out there, you know, doing 12 bars to you.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
Great. And you've got a new lineup now. So you've got Kelpie and Billy on board, bringing that engine room to you to give you that kind of freedom to play the guitar and stuff. How did that come about? And were they part of the recording, or did they come on after the recording?
Yeah, I mean, Billy joined summer 2019, so we did all of the Light It Up tours. Kelpie joined like Christmas 2019, January 2020. So he joined just before the pandemic hit. So he but that poor bugger, he's been in the band now for however long it's been, two and a bit years, and he's just on the Blackstone Cherry tour, but for like 18 months he hadn't done anything with us. But yeah, both those guys they're just amazing. And the thing is about the band now, like Josiah, he's gone on to guitar from keys. Yeah, fantastic driven guitar player. And we're just all on the same page. It's just an energy there. It's just it's a much more tight-knit unit than anything I've had before. And just because musically everyone's on the same page, you know, there's no differences. Like, we all like the same stuff. We're all, you know, leaning the same way, and it's just, it comes out on the recording. When we get into a room and we play, there's energy, there's a vibe there, there's almost like an aggression, there's a power, and that comes through in the music. Even when we play our older stuff, you know, it's just, everything's just gone up a notch just because of the characters and what we're all into.
Yeah, sure. And did you notice that as soon as you kind of got out on stage with the festival dates last year and the Blackstone Cherry support, did you notice that there was a kind of, shall I say, a more of a cohesion, a bit more of a locked in approach with the band, that you could actually maybe be a bit freer, or however you felt?
No, I wouldn't say that. I don't think that's fair to previous band members. It's never been a thing like that. Anyone I've had in my band has been a fantastic player, and you know, on the whole, you know, most of them have been very good people too. So it's nothing like that. It's just, you know, people have different influences, people have different backgrounds and different interests and what they like and what they listen to. And you know, these guys, us now, we're into the same stuff, and you know, we like playing the same stuff, and I think that's what comes out. So yeah, I never felt like I was restricted before. I think I've had some great band members. Just think for what I'm doing now, this lineup is perfect.
Yeah, sure. So one of the tracks on the album that I've listened to is a track called My Parade, which is in the blurb that came with it. It was dubbed as your protest song, if you like. I wondered whether that's a song that you've always needed to write. Is it a statement of where you are, or is it just something that you needed to get out? How long has it been lingering there for you to actually get out and put that down as an actual track?
Well, My Parade started life because I wanted like a big chanty sing-along song. That's what I wanted. You know, originally started writing My Parade with live shows in mind. And I was on the way back on a flight from Milan. I just played at the Milan Guitar Show. It was November 2019, the pre-pandemic. And I was trying to come up with something on the plane, and I was jotting down some ideas, and I kind of had the melody there. Mm-hmm. Didn't really have any words yet. And then I landed at Bristol Airport, got in my car, and there's loads of roundabouts out of Bristol Airport. Yeah, I was on like the second roundabout, and then I pulled over, and it came to me, and it was the line, "This is my parade. I don't give a fuck what people say." And it's changed that they don't actually line up like that in the song now. There's some extra words that came in, but and I record it into a voice memo. Same melody that's there now. "This is my parade. Don't give a fuck what people say," and that's what it was, and that's how it started.
Yeah.
And so it kind of, I wanted like a real powerful collective song where I know it says "This is my parade," but it's kind of like this is our parade. You know, I want everyone to feel it. And then once the pandemic happened, and you know, everything happened. Obviously, there's lots of things going on, and lots of controversies, and you know, lots of rules, and being told what to do and not what to do, and all this kind of thing. And it was just kind of inspired by all that, really.
Yeah, sure, cool. I think it'll certainly be one that people will sing along to relatively quickly, I would imagine, when you play it live, because your fan base is such that those people that are going to buy that album or already pre-ordered it, whatever, will have already learnt all the words by the time you...
Well, the first time we ever played that song live was at Steelhouse Festival.
Yeah, I was there.
And we finished the song, and as soon as we finished it, the crowd carried on singing.
Yeah, I remember.
You know, it was the first time anyone had heard the song. It's the first, you know, no one had ever heard it. And it'd only just been recorded. So yeah, I mean, that was amazing, and that kind of confirmed, you know, everything that I wanted with the song, you know. So.
Yeah, sure. So talking about live shows, obviously, from what I've read, your first live gig, if you like, was with your dad when you were 9 years old, and then one of the most insane gigs that you will have played in recent time was supporting Blackstone Cherry at the Royal Albert Hall. Which one was more nerve-wracking?
I don't think I can remember as far back. 9 years old. It was Christmas Eve, 1994. Yeah, I was nervous, but things are different when you're a kid, aren't they?
Yeah, I suppose so. What about the Albert Hall then? What was that like?
Well, the thing is, for me, I don't suffer from nerves.
Yeah.
I spent a long time in the fighting world having to deal with nerves and coaching people that had to deal with nerves. And for me, I don't take it as like the nerves is a negative word, right? That's how it's being used in this context. You know, oh, nerves, oh, you're nervous. It's not. I always see it as like my body getting ready. So yeah, I had those feelings before the Albert Hall, but I wasn't nervous like to where I'm going to let it affect my performance. I spent a long time, you know, mental training over the years when I was fighting to not let that happen. You know, we have our fight or flight response, and I've seen a lot of good fighters fall victim to that over the years. You know, they'll be like absolute beasts in the gym, but then they let the nerves get hold of them and end up being like a little mouse in the ring and get banged out. I've seen it many a time. So, you know, if I learned anything from the fight world to bring that into gigs, I know how to deal with the nerves. So yeah, I get that feeling in the stomach that people get. And, you know, I kind of get like a tingle. I get exactly the same feelings for a gig as I do before a fight.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same feelings. And, you know, I just know how to deal with it. And it was just exciting. It was daunting. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the thing about, I've done arenas and stuff like that, but the Albert Hall is just like, it's like a cave. Like, it's like a big cavernous thing. You know, the ceiling's so high.
Yeah.
When you stand at like the front of the stage, and it's a weird feeling for sure.
Yeah.
And just all the history that's there, you know, it's 150 years old, and backstage they've got pictures of stuff that's like happened over the years. And, you know, it's just amazing, like the stuff that place has been used for. Yeah. And the night before we played there was the James Bond premiere. It's just like, you know, so it was just amazing. It was an absolute honour. And touring with the Blackstone Cherry guys was phenomenal. They're such a great bunch of guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to ask you about that in terms of touring with them, because you've been out with quite a lot of big names, and you know, you've been out with Magpie Salute and with Bon Jovi and a few other people like that. Is there, I'm not going to ask for a horror story or anything, because I don't think there are horror stories these days in the way that maybe there was in the past. Was there something that you would have learned from all those support slots that you can now translate when you go out on your headline tours, and how you treat your support bands and stuff? Did you pick anything up from that?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I've been very, very fortunate that, you know, everyone we've played with has been great. I've not come across, you know, no one above me has ever been a dickhead. Most of the dickheads are people that, you know, have stayed at the same position for the past 10 years and then not get any bigger. Those are the dickheads. But when you meet, like, you know, actual genuine rock stars, they're just the nicest fucking guys, you know. So I was playing a band with Billy Gibbons, Supersonic Blues Machine. And that guy's just fucking legend. So nice, so friendly. And first time I met him, I went to his house in Beverly Hills. I just arrived in LAX. Fab, who's also in the band, picked me up. It was the first time I was going out there. It was the first time I was meeting everyone. And he's like, oh, Billy wants to know if you want to come round his house. I was like, yeah, okay. Literally off the plane, straight up to Beverly Hills to his house, and ended up being out on Sunset Strip doing tequilas with him. It's just like the coolest guy. Just the coolest, nicest guy. Chats, you know, he can talk all day about music, you know, and he loves it. Music, guitars, and cars. And, you know, all these guys, Black Stone Cherry, you know, legitimate fucking rock stars, you know, selling out huge venues, playing Royal Albert Hall, Wembley Arena and stuff like they did on the previous tour. You know, and they're just the most down-to-earth, like, nice, cool guys. And you just find that actually most of the ones that are successful are like that. Like I said, the only horror stories or, you know, bumping into dickhead stories, they're always the people that are, you know, doing headline shows to 50 people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, those are the ones that are always the knobheads.
Sure.
Not everyone that sells 50, I don't mean that, but I mean, if there is a knobhead, they're at that level.
I know what you mean. So you're going out on tour, obviously, with a band that had a pretty hot album last year in Florence Black with Weight of the World, who were from down by my neck of the woods in Merthyr. So you've got a band underneath you, if you like, or the opening band that are going to put on a hell of a show. Because I don't know if you've caught them last year at all, but they were out. They're pretty polished now because they've been touring quite a lot. Was it a decision that you were involved in terms of picking the support band? Is that something you're passionate about, or is it just a...
Yeah, I mean, I don't always get involved.
Yeah.
We actually had someone else lined up and they pulled out because they had another offer and it was understandable. And then it was kind of like looking at, well, who has been making waves? Who has been? And that was lined up, you know, probably before Florence Black even released their album. Before they were like on the, you know, probably making their mark. And then it was kind of like looking at, well, who's making a mark? Who's making some waves? But they're not quite at that level yet. You know, they don't sell the amount of tickets that we sell. So who would benefit from coming on tour with us like that, but are also going to add some weight to the tour, you know, add some value to the tour. And, you know, I personally think Florence Black are the best for it. And, you know, yeah, of course they're a great band. And yeah, I mean, if they can come and show us up, that's what we want, you know. That's what it's about. You know, Chris from Black Stone Cherry always says, like, he's like, you know, that's what we want. You want a support band to go out there and give you a fucking run for your money. So you go out and you bring your A game, and that's what we're going to do. And,
yeah,
you know, cool. It's going to be a great show. And yeah, I saw part of their set at Steel House from the side of the stage.
Yeah,
so we were on after them or something. But yeah, I think, you know, they're a band that are making waves, making some headway, and, you know, I'm sure they'll be selling out these kind of venues on their own in a year or two time.
Sure. Well, we can but hope. Just going back to the live shows, the first live show that you played post lockdown, I think you played a gig. I think you played one gig in 2020, and then you got back out there with a couple of festivals last year. Is that right?
Yeah.
So,
but I did an acoustic tour with Beth Hart early 2020.
Okay, yeah. So when you actually finally got back out there, I mean, I asked this question to a lot of people that I interview, and it because I'm really interested in how, certainly for you, obviously, I mean, you're used to playing, as you said, big arenas and stuff, but your first couple of shows back were festivals to 4,000 or 5,000 people. You did Stone Dead and Steelhouse, where the vibe at both of those was very much, you could have got on there and just played a ukulele, old school music hall songs for 5 minutes, and people were up for it because they were so starved of music. Was there anything different you found about the crowd in terms of when you got back on stage and how things developed, or did it just feel like back where you were and that's how it should have been?
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of two things there. So, I mean, the crowd thing, yeah, I think everything you just said is right. I think there's definitely like, and we felt on the Blackstone Cherry Tour as well, there's definitely like something different in the air that, you know, people have missed it. And you can feel that. And you can feel like how happy people are to be back out there and going to gigs and enjoying live music. So it's definitely that. Personally, Steelhouse was a bit of a weird one for me. I didn't feel massively comfortable. It was, I think it was just the first one back, and there was a few things like behind the scenes that had gone wrong, like technical issues and a few things. It was just a bit of a weird one for me until we had that moment with My Parade, and then it was, you know, that made everything awesome. But by the time we got to Stone Dead, I felt like everything was flying. And then once we were on to the Blackstone Cherry Tour, I think, you know, it was like the good old days. Everything was back, and I definitely had a bit of ring rust. I think Steelhouse in particular. Steelhouse was, I said, it was a bit of a weird one. There was several things, but yeah, it was, like I said, once we had that crowd moment at Steelhouse, that's given me something that I won't ever forget. So yeah, I do think there's a bit of ring rust there. But so once we got into the Blackstone Tour, you know, we did 15 dates with them.
Yeah,
that was, you know, it's just like being back to normal. And now we're raring to go. We did a headline show at Christmas. That was the first headline show in a long time, 2 years. Hometown show, and I mean, it was just as all the Omicron stuff was coming out. It was a pretty bad timing, so it was a bit quieter than what we normally do. We normally sell that one out, you know, weeks ahead, and you know, we didn't sell it out, but we had a great night. And yeah, just there's a different feeling when you're doing headline shows, you know, because those people have paid their hard-earned money to come and watch you. You know, when you support bands like Blackstone Cherry and stuff, people have bought tickets to see them, and well, I'm on the bill. I'm sure it'll add some value. And people are like, oh yeah, no, cool, check out Kris, or oh, we know Kris, that's cool. But they're still there for Blackstone Cherry first and foremost. So you're always kind of like winning over fans. But when it's a headline show, like you've already won them, they love you, they love your music. That's why they're there. They've spent their hard-earned money to come and watch. And for me, like that, I love that, and I'm grateful for that. I appreciate it, and you know, it's just amazing. You see, everyone knows all the song words, and you know, for me, that's what makes it special.
Sure. So, how many dates are you actually doing on this tour?
I don't know.
It's a good couple of weeks.
Probably like 14, 15. That's normally around that. 15 probably. I don't even know. I know everywhere we're playing, so I could probably work it out. Yeah. I don't know the end number. We're doing 2 nights in Exeter. We're doing Cardiff, Bristol, Nottingham, Manchester, Liverpool, Newcastle, Glasgow, Aberdeen, Sheffield, London. What have I missed?
Have you missed the Midlands?
Southampton, Wolverhampton.
Yeah.
Did I say Manchester?
Yeah, you said Manchester. I mean, that's
it. 14.
To me, that's what I call a
missed one. I'm going to get lynched now.
Well,
Nottingham. Did I say Nottingham?
Think so, but people can look at it.
Look it up. 14 or 15.
To me, that's actually a proper Norwich. There we are.
Norwich. Sorry.
So to me, that's a proper UK tour where you're actually taking in all parts of the country. You're actually
not to everyone, because people in Ireland, Northern Ireland, have been going mental, but we just couldn't get it to line up. But,
yeah. Sure.
It's hard.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a couple of final questions before we just do the final wrap up about the promotion and where people can find the album and stuff. One of the things that's, I don't know if it's set the rock world alight recently, but Foo Fighters have done this like thrashy death metal song. I don't know if you've heard it at all. That's come out recently.
I've seen they got their film coming out.
Yeah,
but I haven't heard a song that's aligned with it.
So I was going to ask, you've got a background, you're brought up with heavy rock, heavy metal, etc. You've talked about the albums getting progressively heavier. Are we ever going to get to see you do anything extreme in terms of rock, or are you at where you would be most comfortable now playing?
Well, each album has gradually got heavier.
Yeah.
So I reckon in about 5 albums' time, I'll be on Norwegian black metal. That's when I reach my final form.
You might not win Planet Rock Band of the Year that year, man.
I honestly don't know. I'm not even thinking about the next album. I'm going to get this one out and get touring again and get back to life. And then I haven't even been writing. I've just been too busy with stuff and having to get having to work for a living now instead of being a professional musician. And it's been some things I've had to take a bit of a back seat. But once this tour's out of the way, I'll probably start thinking about writing again.
Sure. So the album's out a week Friday, the 4th of March, is that right?
Correct.
Yeah, and then you kick off the tour, as you said, 4 days later. So if people want to, and they should pick it up and find out, I'm assuming that the best place to do that would be to find you on your social media stuff and then follow the links from there, yeah?
Yeah, the best place is to order off our web store.
Yeah.
Because if you order a physical copy from there, then you get a free copy of our 4-track acoustic EP. And it's the only place that you'll be able to get it. Studio recordings, proper production. It's not just sat down me with an acoustic guitar. It's proper unplugged versions of songs from the album, but it's the only place that you'll be able to get it from krisbarrasband.com, official web store.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Kris. It's been a pleasure to chat with you. I hope the tour goes well, and hopefully I'll get to see you. I know that we're covering it in, I think, Wolverhampton. So wish you all the best. Thank you, mate.
Awesome. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you keep up to date with future episodes by subscribing to our channels. For more information on this podcast, or for all the latest music news, reviews, interviews and more, head over to our website, www.therazorsedge.rocks.